You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's The Bachelorette After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's The Bachelorette After Show.
Hello, AFTERBUZZ TV world. We all know that Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another after show on AFTERBUZZ TV. This is for The Bachelorette, Season 9, Episode 8. Cue the music, lovely Phil. What's going... Oh, I didn't know.
Too soon, too soon.
Too soon, Phil. Too soon. Because as we know right now, it seems like Des is in love with Brooks. But does he love her back?
Says.
I don't know. And God...
Thank you.
Awesome. And also, a lot of heartbreak tonight. I mean, we ran the whole gamut of emotions, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But first, let us introduce ourselves. Once again, I'm JC, and I got to take a moment to say we're missing our cupcake. Our lovely Kathy Kelly couldn't be with us this weekend. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because our mics have been live the entire time. And when you guys were talking about the song that I didn't want you to play, everyone heard it. So I'm glad, chat roll, we made you all laugh.
Well, there you go. AFTERBUZZ bloopers. Fantastic. And of course, with that said, let us introduce my wonderful co-host for the evening, Bachelorette alum, Bachelor Pad 1, Bachelor Pad Season 5, the one and only 7.
I'm not that old.
Sorry.
Jeez.
The one and only Krisily Kennedy. Phil, give her a round of applause. And we have a new person in the booth. We keep getting these new engineers.
We have Tess, the intern.
Oh wow, we've got Tess. What's going on, Tess? Welcome to AFTERBUZZ.
Wait, we have an intern? Do we get to make her do crazy, stupid things?
Why don't you talk about Bachelorette first, and we'll go from there.
All right. Gosh darn it, Phil. Laying down the law, but of course running the ones and twos, the lovely Phil Svitek. All right, so Krisily, opening thoughts. What'd you think of the episode so far? Or what'd you think of it overall? Better said.
I thought it was a really good episode, and I thought it was really... Every date had such a different tone and was so just kind of all over the place. So I think that it was a really great episode. So much better than last week's episode, which, guys, we love your comments, even when you tell us we're being negative. Last week was a really hard episode to cover. There wasn't a lot that happened, but we love that you keep tuning in every week. So sorry we were negative Nancy's last week, but it was kind of tough to watch.
We're going to, no, but this week makes it up. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, let's dive into it because there's so much, literally, I have another man crush. This has been the year of man crushes for me, the bromance. Zach, the naked man, the guy who came out of the limo naked. He is just literally, I put quotes for each date, and all I could say about Zach and his family, happy. They're the most positive people from 1 to 10 that you'll ever find. They have a snow cone company.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. He dresses as a penguin. He's going to be the perfect father, but was he the perfect fit for Desiree?
Absolutely not. And I've been saying this for the last 3 weeks. He's being kept around because he's fun. Like, he's the fun guy, you know? And what I think Zach lacked, and I think I said this last week or the week before, was that he led with his body and his looks instead of all these great things that we've now seen these last 2 weeks. Because if we had seen these things last 2 weeks from the beginning, then I think that people would have really liked him more, and I think Desiree may have even been able to kind of progress the relationship further. But he led with his body and his looks instead of who he was, and I think that's where he lacked.
I find that it's hard for me to swallow. I mean, of course, you don't want to lead with the body, but I mean, just everything else he did. I mean, when he bought that ring, that was actually a deleted scene that ABC never showed to us. It was.
I remember you saying that he bought something there and there was a deleted scene.
Mm-hmm. And then they waited for. I would have liked them to have shown that deleted scene like a few weeks ago, just to keep it as like a context. It would have given this whole date even more weight. It would have, even though it was heartbreaking scene, you know. I don't want to spoil it if anyone didn't watch it. I'm sure you guys did, but what happened to Zach at the end, but it would have given more weight to the whole experience with. Are you on chat roll right now?
Yeah, I'm on chat roll.
Oh, fantastic. Hey, if you guys are watching us live, of course we are on the chat roll. What's up? If not, make sure to go to iTunes, YouTube, and better yet, go to AfterBuzzTV.com. Go to our website. It is brand new. We've got all our shows. We've got a live Twitter feed, our live chat. It's got all your shows plus Krisyly's show. What shows are you doing now, Chris?
Just this and Rosalie Niles.
Oh. We got to get you doing more shows. Come on. You're getting a fan base out here. They love you.
I do my movie shows during the day, so that takes up a lot of my time, but I'm here for the other ones. And for those of you asking if it's really me in chat roll, it is really me, I promise. It's me!
It's not Phil.
No. And I will not lick my lips on camera. That's what it says. Prove it. Just saying, just saying. I also have to mention, just because a couple people mentioned it in chat roll as well, the dream. I really don't believe he actually had that dream. I think he was looking for a way to set up the snow cone truck. And it was like, we were melting, and then all of a sudden it snowed on us, and then there were all these children, and then cue the ice cream truck with the kids. So I don't think it was an actual dream. I think he was just looking for a fun way to set it up. Yeah,
it felt, that was like the only true disingenuous thing I've ever heard Zach really say. It felt like, you know, it was a little rehearsed. Other than that,
it was, and that's why I think it felt rehearsed, was because it didn't really happen.
He should just stick to the mountains and whatnot. But let's talk about his family. Gorgeous family.
Yeah.
Top to bottom, the sister
was beautiful.
Whoa. And mom, dad, everyone. I mean, I was like, even the little brother, I was like, I could see him coming on. What if his brother got on the show a few years from now? Like Bachelorette number 13. Because he was handsome. They're all good looking.
Well, we know he's a singer, and we know that sometimes singers like to come on The Bachelor for love.
Oh, boy.
AKA contracts.
So anything that you might have, I mean, Desiree, of course, started crying. Now, am I going to be the cynic on this? Was Des crying because of the emotions of the song, how beautiful the song was, which it was, or was it the fact that she knew she was probably going to let Zach go?
I think she totally knew she was going to let Zach go. Sorry, I'm trying to read chat roll at the same time. Totally not being negative about Zach at all. Completely my opinion. We all have our favorites, and that's what we do, is we talk about our favorites and we talk about others. Zach has never had an emotional connection with Desiree, and I think it's pretty fair to say that everyone sees that. There's never been an emotional connection from Desiree to Zach. There's always been one from Zach to Desiree. For Desiree, it's always seemed as he's fun. He's going to have a good time with me. There was never a warm, fuzzy. She walked to him on her hometown, on this hometown. She ran to every other guy. Right. There were huge signs from the first week that they met up until now. They've never had great, emotional, deep conversations. They've had some good conversations, but never amazing conversations. And I think all of us have been saying, and a lot of the people that watch the YouTube channels as well, has been saying that Zach was there for fun. We all kind of knew he was going home at this point. We all knew who her 3 front runners are. And from this point on, I think we're all clueless.
Yeah.
All of us. But Zach was great. His family was amazing. His sister was beautiful. There were so many signs on this date that he was going home. When they talked about the friend zone, there was the instant nervous laugh from Desiree. Yes. And it was because he wasn't out of the friend zone. But how do you say that to the sister in that moment? You don't, you know? So there were so many moments on this date that you knew that he was going home. The ring moment was beautiful and sentimental and amazing, and I'm so sad that he wasted it at that moment, because I feel like she knew he was going home going into hometowns. I don't think that she ever thought he had a chance of making it to Final 3, and that was such an amazing moment that could have been saved for something different, and I'm glad that he put it all out there. I'm totally glad he put it all out there, but I just wish that it kind of...
That goes back to what you were saying about Allie. when Allie, she knew from the start.
Oh, for sure.
So it's painful, but it's part of the process. It's part of the show. And
right.
You said something very. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, there's a lot of people asking about why she would take him to hometowns and meet his family if she wasn't going to go next with him, and it's because it's a numbers game. Every week you can only send so many people home, so you keep around the people that you're going to have fun with and you're going to spend time with, and you send home the people that you're not. And also, I think that she also knew that Zach's feelings would be a little less hurt than Michael's feelings last week. So she spared Michael a little bit more of a heartache because she knew Zach was a little bit stronger, or thought Zach was a little bit stronger. Because what we saw at the end is he's not as strong as we think he is. And I wish that, and I made fun of Zach the whole beginning of the season. We all know that. Slightly. I was like, he's shirtless guy. He's shirtless guy. How do you take him seriously? If he had showed all of us what he showed us the last 2 episodes, he would have been in my top 3 from the beginning. But he failed himself. So hopefully he watches and sees that these are the things he needs to lead with. The ring, the moment. Yes.
You mentioned something that we somewhat disagreed with, but you know what? Even the chat rolls mention it. That Zach I think it was Susie Easton. Zach is the next Bachelor.
I said it tonight. Yeah. I have on the top of my notes, even before we get into any of the other dates, the end of Zach dates, I said, I smell Bachelor. Then when I saw his exit interview, he would be an amazing next Bachelor. Amazing. And I have not thought anyone this season would.
So out of the blue, because I mean, last week we were talking about Jeff Holm. We were talking about just all these other people, but because we didn't see anyone in this cast really standing out, giving good TV, and also finding love.
Yeah. And he would be so much fun to watch. He's adorable. He, and it's so funny because I think sometimes they're like, oh, well, he's not that good looking. I mean, I love Sean. We all know Sean's a friend of mine. He's a great guy. Sean has a great body. Sean's got a very cute face. He's very handsome. His attitude is what makes him attractive. And I think Zach's the same way. Zach is a little goofy, but you know what? He's got such a great personality, and he'd be so much fun, and he has an amazing body that he'd have a shirt off the entire season, and everybody would love him. I just wish he had led with what we saw the last 2 weeks, because this family was amazing. There could have been such a great connection there, and there was a lack because of, I think, how he started.
Do you think...
All right, guys, I have Tess the intern actually is a huge Bachelorette fan. Come here, Tess, and she actually hates Zach, and she's going to tell you why. She doesn't want him to be the Bachelor.
No, I don't hate him.
Speak here.
But
I think that he's really over the top, and that if he was the Bachelor, I don't know, it seems a little bit fake to me. I don't know.
Oh, I think he came across super genuine the last 2 weeks. Before that, I thought he was very, like, showy, and I'm going to take my shirt off, and I'm on stage. And the last 2 weeks is the only time I found him genuine.
Is that Zach's fault? Because it also could be editing. Remember,
of course.
There are a lot of deleted scenes that you can find them on YouTube, and there's a lot of moments with Zach and Desiree. And there's other sides of Zach that we did not necessarily see on the show. So, kind of like when Emily became Bachelorette, we saw a more feistier side. You see these sides that they don't necessarily show us when they're on the show for the first time, but let's say if Zach were to come back, I'm sure you're going to see more of that sensitive side that we saw these last few weeks.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people saying the same thing, is that, he was naked guy. He was the guy you didn't take seriously at the beginning. He was the show guy. And a lot of that could have been editing. We could have not seen those more intimate moments that we're seeing now, because now is the time when you're in the shoes of these guys that you are putting your best foot forward and you're throwing out everything. There's no more stops. Like, you can't hold anything back at this point, because holding things back is what gets you sent home. So at this point, we're seeing who they really are, and I just wish that he would have led with that. So,
do you think he'll be haunted by that beginning?
He may not see it. He totally may not see it that way. And some people don't. Some people learn from seeing it, and some people won't. And I think that as America will warm up to him, because they really have, I feel like, the last couple weeks, I think that hopefully he'll see that that's the foot he should lead with from now on.
And Tess already has fans. I Am the Walrus is agreeing with Tess. I don't want him for the next Bachelor. So that's why we all have opinions, and we all have an opinion about the next guy. The sweetest.
Ken.
Okay, Krisily, go ahead.
I know his name's not Ken, guys. Don't yell at me. I know. Just looks like a Ken doll.
Yes, the handsome but very sweet, heartfelt, and God, I don't remember an episode that played on my emotions so much as this one tonight. It's been a while. And tonight with just his family history, I mean, with his sister, is it Melissa? I mean, the sister that cannot communicate. And
Drew's hometown was so much more serious.
Yes.
It went from this, like, fun, laughing, singing family to this very serious, very deep, very heartfelt hometown.
Could that have been a little bit overwhelming for Des?
No, I mean, I think, yes, I do think it could be overwhelming, but I think because of who Des is and the way that she handles her life and how positive she is and how she does choose to see the best in everybody, I think that she knew what she was going into. What Drew has done from the beginning is he has put all his cards out on the table. He's talked about his father's substance abuse problem. He's talked about the divorce. He's talked about his sister. He's talked about how important his family is. So he really set himself up to succeed in this hometown. So she had no surprises. She wasn't walking into not knowing what kind of family this was. She really had no surprises. So I don't feel like it was overwhelming in that respect. I think it's overwhelming whenever you meet somebody you're dating's family. So that part's overwhelming.
And this is the great part, that since you've been part of this process, you know this scenario better than just about anyone. And I was wondering, aren't these shot out of sequence? They didn't go exactly.
For sure.
They didn't go from Zach to Drew.
They may not.
It just was to give it more weight.
Because it's just the way they edit the story, right? And it always works that way, because I know that in my overnight dates when we went to Aruba, how the dates went were Sarah B, myself, and then Sarah W. But how they showed them was Sarah B, Sarah W, then me.
Okay.
So it depends on what happens on each date and how much story they have and how much content. So it may not actually happen in the order that you see, or it may. It just depends on what they get. Now
with this, I mean, we've noticed how in touch Drew is with his emotions, and it's because I guess his stepdad said that the angel of Melissa has taught them to be so soft-hearted and just open. Do you worry, let's say, if she doesn't pick Drew? Would he be shattered?
Oh, for sure.
Would he take it the hardest out of the guys?
Out of the 3 guys that are left, all of them are going to take it hard. I mean, these 3 guys are so emotionally involved in her that at this point, all 3 of these guys are going to take it really hard. I don't think that one would be more so than the other. I think Drew is so passionate and so loving and so caring and has these amazing feelings for her, but then you don't ever get to see this kind of fun, quirky side of him. And that's the one thing that I lacked. And I really liked this date. I thought it was really beautiful. And they talked about things on this hometown they didn't talk about on any of the other ones. Desiree talked with Drew's family about marriage and family and longevity in a relationship. And that didn't get brought up again until Brooks. Yeah. So the conversation with Drew and his family was just very more serious. The moment with Drew and his mom was like so touching, and it was just a very different tone for a hometown. It was very serious and very somber, almost was the word.
Yeah, and you know, and I did bring up the point that if it would have been a bit overwhelming for her. However, you picked up something that she said about Drew's family. And it was that that's the family I want to stay with.
She did at the end of her date with Drew. She said, I love this family so much, I don't want to go home. I just want to stay here. And she didn't say that. We didn't see her, let me clarify, editing. We didn't see her say that at the end of any other dates. That was the only one that she said she wanted to stay with. So.
I'm worn out from tonight's episode because it was the high, the low. And, I mean, with Chris, okay, it's fantastic because let's say Zach, the high with Zach, the somberness of Drew, and then the normalcy of Chris.
Yeah. Before we get into Chris, Ian the Walrus, I completely agree with you. Drew is far too sweet for Desiree. She definitely needs someone that has a little bit of edge to her.
Thank you. You said that even during the show.
I wrote it down. He has no edge, and there's nothing wrong with having no edge. Des just needs a guy that has a little edge, and Drew doesn't. We haven't seen that edge. So if he has it, where is it?
And maybe we'll see it because they gave us that sneak peek like 2 weeks ago about Drew breaking down and was off on the island. So
it looks like he breaks up with her. Just saying.
Ooh, is that a little bit of a prediction? Okay.
I don't know.
A little early, but let's get into Chris, who, okay, Chris has always been the grounded one all season long.
He's so grounded.
Yet his family was a bit quirky, especially Dad. Chiropractor Dad, who had Desiree face down on the table, and he was working her back, and even Des was a little like, kind of not.
Loved it.
You loved it.
Loved it. Loved the date. Loved it. I loved that they went to the baseball field where he learned how to play Little League, and they threw balls, and they had a game of catch.
You know what?
I loved it.
It looked like he was looking for a draft. He's all, she can catch, she could run. And I was like, what is this, a prospect for AAA? What's going on?
No, but I feel like there's things that you want in a relationship. And I think, you know, like in my relationship, I am not the one that wants to go surfing and dirt bike riding and do all that stuff. And Stephanie does. So, you know what I mean? Like, you learn to do those things. So when you find someone that you're like, you do that thing with them that you love, whether it be surfing or baseball or bike riding or whatever it is, and they're good at it, you're like, oh my God, we can do this together. I mean, they haven't done anything that's been a real life date since they met. So for them to just go to a baseball park and hit some balls is probably the most exciting thing in the world for them right now.
Right, and you could see Chris being such a sportsman. I'm sure he's going to teach her, you know, in case she looked like she could handle herself on the diamond. So
she was great.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's good. I mean, like you said, those normal activities, teaching each other things, which is fantastic for a relationship, even if it's on TV. You know.
Yes.
Definitely. But I just want to get into the family.
I loved the family.
Even the nose thing.
Okay, that was disgusting. First of all, if you've never been adjusted by a chiropractor, I highly suggest it. It is the best feeling in the world. And when the dad said that he was doing it to give her more clarity, that's no BS, people. Like, there's something about being adjusted that lets your body just release everything, and you do. You see more clearly. So I was all for the dad adjusting Des. I was not all for the snot thing.
But it's good for you. Come on.
I don't care. Right. I don't want to see anyone's snot that close in a camera.
Yeah, because we did catch it. I'm surprised they kept that shot. And I was like,
of course they did.
Really?
Of course. Everybody did the same thing that I did. Oh my God, I can't look. Of course.
It's a guy. It happens. Anyway, body fluids aside, let us talk about the mom. The mom is the one who struck me actually the most because she was the tough one. She was the one, she moved me. There was a lot of subtext there that whether Des ends up with Chris or not, I think the pain of a mother, let's say if Des does not pick Chris, I almost saw like Des's mom almost can see Des not picking Chris, but she loves her son and supports her son. Do you follow? I'm sorry, I kind of worded that kind of weird, but.
I think that what it was they didn't like his past girlfriend. There was a very clear message that no one in the family liked his past girlfriend. So not only are they meeting Des in this really weird situation and this really weird environment with all these cameras and crew that have been in your house now for 3 days, and you're meeting this girl who your son actually really likes, and now you actually like her. So now it's even more of not just my son's going to get hurt, but now we got involved in this, you know? Because in a normal relationship, how soon do you introduce your family to the person you're dating? And is there a camera crew and a producer with you? Well, is the question.
Well, do you mind? I mean, you kind of moved it there. It's perfect because you went through this.
Yeah.
And even one of our fans was asking, he wanted to start a little thing called Ask Krisily, which we might start doing in the next few weeks, just about your experience and the fact that you were final two. Mm-hmm. Was your family affected by you not getting that final rose from Charlie?
No. My family wasn't affected in the way that they were attached to Charlie. I wouldn't say that they were affected in that way.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You know, and because I do want to bring up, it was from our superfan Chris Mingy that he said, this is his question for Ask Krisily. What happens after a hometown date is over and the crew leaves?
You go home.
Okay.
No, I was really excited that Chris wrote that because it is a good question because there are a lot of things that you don't see. my date had also had different places. So, like, you saw they went to the baseball field and they went to the family. Charlie and I met at a park down the street from my parents' house, and then I took him to get a haircut at my cousin's salon because that's where I worked. And my cousin is tougher than me. So if you think I'm negative and I have an opinion, you don't want to meet my cousin Michelle. So she, we met at the park. And then they put us in separate cars and took us to the salon. And then we got to the salon and we did our meets. And then the only time I had alone with my cousin was while they were doing Charlie's, we call them ITMs, which are the interviews you see with the cast members by themselves. So that's the only time I had, which is maybe 15 minutes. And then that time we got to ride together to my mom's. And we got to ride together to my parents' house. And when we got there, obviously the camera crew was already there. The lights were up. They had been there for 2 days lighting my mom's house and setting everything up.
Did they think it was fun, though? Oh, it's Hollywood.
Oh, they thought it was amazing. It's Rhode Island. Nothing exciting ever happens there. So, it was exciting for them. And the only time that I got to with my family without a producer and without a camera person was when they were doing other interviews. And we were sitting in the basement. And it was like a really short time of seeing each other, but we're all still mic'd, and there's all these people still in the room. So there's just this awkward space of no downtime with them. So you don't really get to. I didn't really get to sit with my mom for a half hour once Charlie left with no producer and be like, okay, what did you think? There was none of that. So it was what you saw was what you saw.
Okay, and that kind of answers the second half of his questions. Did you spend time with the parents and talk about him, Charlie and whatnot? So definitely, guys, I think this is a great idea. If you send us like your questions throughout the week, or even on Twitter or chat roll, just hashtag Ask Krisily, and we'll add that as a segment next week for sure. Yeah. So, finishing up with Chris, anything else that definitely that stood out? I had one line that stood out for me.
What was it?
And it was I call it my little lie detector tell. And they were, I believe it was Chris's mom asking Des about Chris, and she said, "What is it about him?" And she said, his confidence is unique, I think. And for me, it was just a tiny, tiny little tell, because she was almost like trying to sell the fact that, because we all know, they're saying it throughout the whole episode, that she loves Brooks. She loves Brooks. So now I have it in my head, I'm like, is she?
But she did say she questioned it after the hometown with Chris. She did say that. So Chris's hometown made her question her feelings for Brooks. I don't think that when she said, I think that's what she puts in instead of an or an o. It's just she puts in I think. The thing that I really liked about Chris's hometown was how realistic both Chris and his family were about this process, because I think that we don't always get to see that, and that's something that I've enjoyed about the season, is that I think Desiree has really been very realistic about a lot of things. But the mom didn't buy it at first when Desiree said, you raised a really great guy. It's like, no, Mom. I mean, yeah, every mom wants to hear that, but not in that situation, because then it feels very scripted and forced. And by the end of the conversation, you saw that the mom really did like Desiree and care for Desiree, which was great. But at the beginning, you could tell that her mom was not buying it. And then when she did talk to Chris, she was very realistic about the process, and you're not in the real world, and what happens when real life happens. And those are the questions you want to be asked in that situation, because you're not thinking of them yourself.
I feel a lot of Chris as he's like his mom quite a bit, just how grounded he is. I feel very much like his mom. So, I love these dates, but I got to talk about Brooks.
Woohoo!
Yes, Krisily, I know this is your moment. It's been your boy all season.
He has.
All right, so, and of course we open up with "I love Brooks." Come on.
Not in that way. In that part of the interview, when she said, I love Brooks, she was definitely not saying, I love Brooks in that way. She was just being like if I was talking about describing one of my friends, I love Kathy. She's a great person. You know what I mean? Okay. Like, it was not in the way. She did, however, change that tune when she was talking to Chris Harrison. But in that interview, it was taken out of context.
I almost want to see it again, because to me it seemed like she was almost... Because even on Kimmel, she has a horrible poker face.
Yes, she's not good.
She cannot hide her emotions.
She should not be an actress.
Yeah, and I could see it almost like she did a little micro flinch. I'm telling you, I'm like this lie detector. I'm looking for these tells, and it just seemed like to me that she's like, I love Brooks, but
I don't think she meant it that way. Okay. I think that it was just like, oh, I love so-and-so. I love Chris. He's great. He's a great guy. I have so much fun with him. I don't think it was like, I love Chris. That would be our mascot, Sparky, howling for his father, in case you hear the little chirps coming in the background. Come here, buddy.
Yeah. Sparky, he's our AfterBuzz dog.
Yes.
So, all right, now one thing I did want to mention is the reason why she couldn't, this is a theory, why she loves Brooks, aside from being 6'4", chiseled good looks.
Because he's confused.
Yes, because the other 3 guys are chasing her and she's chasing him.
Yep, always the way.
Absolutely. So, I mean, well, now that we've given our opinion of him, let's talk about the date itself. And I read somewhere that he has like a family of 10. And of course, they all had name tags.
Loved the name tags. Thought that was so fun. I mean, I can't keep up with the guys' names on the show. So now she's not only kept up with all the guys and the names on the show, but now she has to go to the family and she has to keep up with all their names after meeting them once. So,
is that another bonus as well? Because it was said there herself that she comes from a small family.
She comes from a small family.
So yearns that big family, that big feeling, being part of a big group. You know, we always want what we didn't have.
It didn't matter what happened on this date. She was still going to love Brooks at the end of it.
Okay.
I mean, you know, the one thing that I really do like about Brooks is that he, like Chris's mom, is completely realistic about this process. And he's saying, you know what, when I'm with her, it's awesome. I love her. I want to be with her. I want to spend time with her. I want to hang out with her. It's great. When I'm not with her, I have concerns and questions. And part of that is what the Bachelorette and the Bachelor breeds, because they take you and they give you these amazing dates, and then you put back in the house with all these other people that are going on the amazing dates with your girlfriend. So that insecurity is what the show will breed. But he's being very realistic about it, and he's given enough to show her that he cares without kind of questioning his integrity in this process. And he waited until he was in his real life. So there are all these dates. Well, now he's home, and now he's with his family, and this is his turf and his comfort zone. And this was the place that he chose to really kind of figure that out, which I think is the most realistic and best way that you can in this process. Like, I know that he's been my favorite from the beginning, but even if he was not tonight, he would have been, because of the way that he talked to his family and the questions that he asked, and waited until he was home to make it so that it didn't feel forced, and he was really sure that this is what he wanted for him and not just what he wanted because of the show.
Do you think it could also be a ruse by the producers and whatnot, that they're breeding this angle of questions of, is he, because they asked him a lot, would you miss her? Can you make her happy for the rest of your life? And there was no answer. You know, and I'm wondering if they're just doing that just to add to the tension, because...
No, I think that Brooks has genuinely questioned his feelings for her the last 2 weeks. We've heard him say it in interviews the last 2 weeks.
Sure.
They talked about it in the in-between like and love thing last week or the week before. So there was definitely question in Brooks' mind about their relationship. And I think that, you know, Brooks didn't get a chance to walk into that house before the producers and Desiree got there and say, hey guys, I don't know what to do. This is what I need you to do. But what happened was 2 days before Brooks and Desiree got there, a producer went and talked to the family and told them this is how it's going to work. And then we're going to talk to you and we're going to ask you these questions on camera. And I guarantee you that at that time, the brothers were like, okay, well, what should we talk about when we're in the moment? And they'll say, well, what would you want somebody to ask you before? You know, they're really good at probing people to ask the questions that they want to hear. And I don't mean that in a way that they make it scripted, but these were questions that Brooks needed to be asked tonight, and they were questions that needed to be answered.
And that's a question by guest 192. Was his dad there? I didn't see the dad. I saw brothers, sisters, the mother, maybe cousins. I never saw the dad. I did find that peculiar as well.
I don't remember if I saw a dad or if we've heard about his dad.
Yeah, I don't know if there's something there or it's just something they haven't shown us yet. Hopefully they will, you know, because of course we get so emotionally invested in because literally right now it's so funny. I'm protective of Zach. I'm protected. Now I want to protect Desiree in this scenario, because what if they end up together and Brooks, for some reason, has a change of heart? Because it seems like that's what they're priming us for the finale, that something bad is going to happen. And even Chris Harrison even said, for the previews for next week, he's telling Desiree, I'm sorry. And they're breaking down. Yeah. So, and if let's say she's after Brooks and let's say they end up together, and I don't want down the road 3 months after this is done, they're done. Yeah. You know, you just get emotion. You just get caught up in this, I guess. That's what makes us super fans. I don't know. I'm telling you, I'm so emotional in tonight's episode.
I think that the problem with this episode is Not that there was a problem, but there's kind of a problem in that now we're screwed for the next 4 weeks because who goes home each week at this point is like, I mean, obviously there's only one more person getting sent home, but who? Mm-hmm. Like I sound like an owl. I'm sorry. Who goes home next? You
brought up a great point because usually the men tell all is going to be next week, and usually they do it when there's only 2 left.
Right.
So this, I think something
huge is happening on the next episode.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now. So the men tell all obviously is next week, which is my least favorite episode of the entire season.
Why?
Because it's the men tell all, and it's never as exciting as the women tell all. The women tell all is always much more fun because they're super catty. Although these guys have been wearing skirts all season, so possibly this may be the best men tell all ever. Which, by the way, is being filmed in LA right now.
Like today?
It was filmed today in LA.
No!
Today.
Oh.
So somewhere running around LA are all these boys that I will not be going to find.
Great. We just lost half the people on chat roll. They're now off to find the guys.
Sorry.
All right. But there's still, gosh, I thought we were done and we still have more. Do you want to talk about Nate a little bit, the return of Nate? I really don't know why they brought this up.
They brought him back because eventually there's going to be a hometown and he is either going to be there or not, and they had to address it. So I feel like she probably wasn't sure if she was going to have the brother when her family comes to meet the guys.
Yeah.
And I feel like they had to address just in case he wasn't invited. I also think that they just may have needed to fill 15 minutes.
Yeah, we did notice. He came in kind of early. And any growth, or is Nate just being Nate?
No, I think that Nate is just, you know, it's weird because I want to believe that he's doing it because he's trying to protect his sister, but there's a part of me that just sees a very aggressive person. And I know that when you see these producers and these cameras and these crews within someone that you love's lives, it's very intimidating, and you want to be sure that they're not being told to say things and do things, and so I understand where he's coming from. I don't know that he goes about it the right way. I don't know. I think that Desiree was very wrong when she said that he would like all 4 of the guys. I don't think that he would. I think that he would find something wrong with every single one of them.
Absolutely.
So,
you know, and another thing is, they made it seem like they hadn't spoken to each other in months since the Sean debacle.
Yeah.
And I don't, because I've read in other reports where she was thankful for what her brother did with Sean. You know, she stuck by her brother. She was supporting her brother after the fact.
Well, but her feelings were still hurt. You know, I mean, she said it tonight that, you know, he basically screwed it up for her, which, I mean, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be.
Right.
So I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, but I think that it's such a weird scenario, you know? It's like when Ashley's sister was so tough on JP and everybody gave her like all that crap because she had tattoos and she had this. You know what? Ashley's sister loves JP, and it's a really awkward scenario, and you do your best to ask the questions that you think you should. Nate was super aggressive, and he was a little aggressive today as well. So
it's
I feel like, yeah.
So it's a front, basically him saying winning you and all these kind of things. But I did find it interesting when
Nate's not a believer in The Bachelor.
No.
Nate's not a believer. Nate doesn't think this works. Nate thinks this is a television show and it's a bunch of BS, which he very clearly showed tonight.
Yeah, but I mean, Desiree did describe the guys, and I always look at those little nuggets to see if I can find where she's leaning.
She didn't give him anything.
She said that, I mean, the only one she said basically Drew was sweet and just these generic statements, which are great, but with Brooks, she said that we get each other.
Yeah.
She didn't say that about the other guys. And even Chris, she said, good father, good husband, but she didn't say a good father or good husband for me.
Yeah.
You know, that's those little things.
I try not to read into those anymore because I feel like they do it on purpose.
So I'm hooked, you're saying. Damn it. So I'm hooked. I'm hooked by the show. All right.
Yeah.
Krisily, you're the sensible. You. Thank you.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think I don't know.
All right, so let's just quickly move on to anything with the rose ceremony. Besides, okay, one thing, I am glad they're back in the States because I've noticed that actually all the men in Desiree, they look a lot better like physically, they look like they're well rested. They've slept.
Des looks tired, and the boys look better.
I thought Des actually looked great tonight. I did.
Yeah.
Compared to the,
she looked great the last couple episodes.
yeah, the dress is phenomenal. She looked gorgeous. I was like, wow. But now comes the rose ceremony. Now, you said something when the guys were paired, all four were paired up for the final rose.
That's the first time they've seen each other since the last rose ceremony. So once you're down to final four, you are sequestered. So you no longer live in a house with the other contestants or cast members or whatever you want to call them. You now live by yourself with a producer or a handler, and you're separated. So the only time you see anyone is a producer, Desiree, or a rose ceremony. That's it.
Yeah, no, and I just also want to point out something, because fans are just asking. That Guest 192 said the part seemed faked where Nate was creepily in the hotel checking out the guys.
Of course it was.
Because that wasn't real.
If you remember,
come on
season 7 of Charlie O'Connell's season, while he was on a date with Sarah W., Krisily just happened to be walking down the beach, and all of a sudden there were these chairs, and she just happened to look over and see them. Newsflash, I would have not been allowed to walk around Aruba without a producer, so that was very clearly meant to happen. Just saying.
There you go. There you go. The magician's tricks exposed. So now, but we also had the talk with Chris, and of course, once again, she says she loves Brooks. Is it fair for the other men? I know you said that, yes, that some of the other guys creeped in with these hometowns, but is it fair?
I mean, what is she going to do? Just tell them she's done, she doesn't want to do it anymore? It's a contractual agreement. She signed a contract. She's got 13 weeks of television to give the world.
So maybe she should just, well, what if she just kept saying, I love Brooks, I love Brooks, I love Brooks, and that's all she's going to say? She's
not, and she's continued to go on dates and have fun with other people, and she did say that after Chris's hometown that there was question in her head. So I think that because she keeps saying I love Brooks, that something very big is going to change.
Yeah.
Like the men tell all is going to be the men tell all, and then we have the overnights, and I think there's going to be a huge game changer in the overnights.
All right, so any final thoughts on the date before? Because I don't know if we'll even have time for news and gossip.
We don't have any news and gossip because we don't have Kathy Kelly.
Okay, yeah, we'll save it for next week then. So why don't we just move on to predictions?
And now, your AfterBuzz
Oh my God!
TV.
What?
You know what we forgot to talk about?
What did we forget to talk about?
Des is stealing Zach's move.
What's Zach's move?
The pictures.
Oh yes.
So just because I have to say this before we get into predictions, I'm sorry to the board. When Des is on the hometown with Chris, she says I drew you something, and she pulls out pictures of their moments together. Zach did that for her.
Yeah.
Last week or the week before, so Des stole Zach's move.
So that's got to burn if Zach's watching.
Just another reason why we knew Zach was going home tonight.
Yeah, okay,
Sorry,
that's
Zach.
true. We caught it there.
Sorry.
But you're still awesome, Zach.
You're not naked guy to me anymore.
No.
Now you're a caring, soft, sensitive guy that just happens to like to take his shirt off.
See, you softened Krisely's heart, Zach.
I mean, he
Thank
didn't
you.
soften my heart, but I like him. The heart is dark. It's fine.
All right. So
It's
let's get
fine.
into some predictions, because you're not going to be here next week? What's going on? We need you here. AfterBuzz TV Nation, make sure she stays here.
I will be here next week. It's the week after that I possibly may not be here, and the finale I may not be here either. So we may you may do a finale without Krisily, or you may wait a day and have Krisily.
Oh.
You guys can all choose.
Very well played there.
You can all choose.
All right, so predictions for next week. What are we going to see the guys? Are they going to be catty? Are they all going to get along? Is Mike G actually going to make up with the dad from Texas, with Brad? I already forgot his name. The smooth dad. Do we remember his name? Oh my gosh.
No.
There's so many names.
I don't remember the family's names. Who's dad?
The dad, the hot dad, the good-looking dad from Dallas.
Drew's dad?
No. Mike G, and the dad.
Ben?
Thank you, that one.
I thought you were talking about the hometown still. I was like, what
No.
good-looking dad?
No.
Ben, the dad from Texas that wants to be the next bachelor.
Okay, is that a perfect scenario for Ben to actually apologize and, I don't want to sound cynical, but to strengthen his possible win favor and maybe be considered again, possibly, to being the next bachelor? Notice I don't even believe it because I'm going up an octave.
I was like, what are you even talking about? No.
I'm done. All right, so anything you see next week?
Someone's going home, and they are going to cry.
It's the mental.
Like a baby. Oh.
Yeah. Sorry, smarty pants.
No one's going home.
All right,
We're going to have to sit and watch a bunch of boys act like girls, and I hope they all have their pink skirts on because there's going to be some chatty boys.
And speaking of chatty, we're going to get one person back next week, and that is the lovely
Cupcake. We miss you.
Yes, get over here. We hope you're having a wonderful time on assignment. So with that said, Krisily, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Krisily, and if you go to Facebook, like my Facebook page because I don't have any friend requests left.
Say what?
What? Like my Facebook page.
And of course, thank you, Phil and Tess, for running the 1s and 2s. You guys were awesome. You're welcome. Okay. And of course, you can follow me at JC Rubio TV on Instagram and Twitter. So for Phil, Tess, Krisily, I'm JC, and we'll see you next week. Good night.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
We still don't like Zach.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.